Khamzat and Gilbert, where do I even start? I have been thinking about this match for quite some time now, and I still don't really know who's gonna win. I really don't have a pick necessarily. I'll make one just to make one, but I mean, every time I settle on one, literally a couple minutes later, I'll flip to the other and say, no, I'm not an idiot. No, of course not. It's crazy. This is phenomenal matchmaking. I wasn't a big fan of this fight at first, believe it or not. I was like, I wanted to see Khamzat fight somebody in the mid tier, someone in the top 10, between the top 10 and top 5. So number 10, number 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Maybe not 5, but like, someone mid tier level, someone working their way up who's bounced a couple times. I didn't like the straight to shoot up to the top because I felt like they could build it more. Like, imagine, say Khamzat fights Neil Magny, like it's been happening, and say Khamzat wins, then it's even bigger. And then this fight with Gilbert or a fight with Colby gets even bigger than that. That being said, I'm really enjoying the build up to this fight with Gilbert. I mean, Gilbert is such a killer, and people don't give him credit for it. And they don't give him credit for it because of his last couple fights. He fought Stephen Wonderboy Thompson last and beat him, but he beat him in a grappling way. Everybody wants to see some stand and bang, especially it's not everybody wants to see some stand and bang, but Gilbert's so good at standing and banging, we wanted to see that. But Stephen Wonderboy Thompson presents such a unique puzzle on the feet. Tells this for a similarity. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's the Conor McGregor of the 170-pound division, when Conor's not fighting there, obviously. And obviously Stephen uses more karate with the kicks and all that, but I mean, their striking is phenomenal. It's not, it goes beyond boxing and MMA. It's great, obviously, but like, you know what I mean with the strikes. You cannot necessarily just stand and bang with that. Gilbert tried a couple times, got hit hard, had to clinch, had to get him against the fence. So how are you supposed to beat a guy like that? You can't necessarily stand and bang with me. Well, you got to make it dirty, you got to make it grimy, you got to go push him up against the cage, try and take him down. You can't take him down, that's fine. Just keep him there. Put your forearm into his throat, put your head into his chin, and punch him in the face. Make it gruesome, dirty, and brutal to your opponent. To the outside observer, who's either far away in the stands or who's sitting back at home on the TV, it's not the most entertaining thing. But as somebody who has had a forearm in their throat and a head in their chin, it doesn't feel great. It feels bad and it feels scary. Like, you're getting completely dominated by another man, and he is grinding you down, wanting to destroy you, and you're doing everything you can to stop it, but you can't really get up because of the position, because of every time you tried to make a move, Gilbert would unload just strikes. I mean, they're not power shots, but I mean, there's one power shot and then there's 8 rabbit punches. That still does damage. Doesn't not knock out blow, but it can cause a lesser opponent to crumble. Stephen Wonderboy stuck in there for all 3 rounds. Wasn't the most exciting fight. Wasn't necessarily boring. It's just, it wasn't what it could have been with the standing and banging and knockouts. Not what everybody expected, especially as the co-main for a Conor card. Excuse me. But even before that, his fight with Usman started off really well. Then Usman gets it, picks him apart with the jab, finishes him. But that's the thing. What I said to you is an accurate description of Kamaru and Gilbert's fight. But everybody seems to forget, or sort of just off to the side, that 30 seconds in, it looked like Gilbert was going to knock out Kamaru Usman. I mean, a wicked left hook puts him down, like face down. Like, not face down, but he was going to be there. If it landed any harder, it would have been dangerous. And it was dangerous in the moment. And Kamaru's stumbling, he's wobbled, Gilbert's unloading. Kamaru gets back up, he starts to regain it a little bit, starts putting it back out there again. Doesn't get it hit as hard this time, but Gilbert smacks him again. And then I got into Kamaru using his wrestling more and his offensive jab more, forcing Gilbert off, not only on the back foot, but sometimes on the ground. And it was, in the crucial moment, Kamaru Usman regained control of the position and was able to use that to win him the fight. But people still brush that off. They sort of forget, like, oh yeah, Gilbert dropped Kamaru. Gilbert dropped Kamaru. Did Colby drop Kamaru? No, he wobbled him. But did he drop him? No. Gilbert Burns is the closest person who Kamaru Usman has fought besides his one loss, especially in the UFC, the closest person to come close to finishing Kamaru Usman in the cage. And sure, he may have been TKO finished. He was the closest. Colby's had some close and great fights with Kamaru. Gilbert almost finished him. People need to remember that. And they also seem to forget that Gilbert's a bit more of a jiu-jitsu guy on the ground. So he's not necessarily going for top. It's not that he won't take top pressure if it's handed to him, but I mean the submissions are slick off the back. I mean, he's a jiu-jitsu world champion. People forget that too, and it's easy. No, nobody can necessarily relate to a jiu-jitsu world champion. Like inherently, but nobody's looked up like if you look up Gilbert's highlights, they're all going to be in the UFC. But even if you go deeper, Gilbert's striking highlights, maybe some before the UFC. Even that, you're not looking up Gilbert's grappling highlights. Like nobody's typing in YouTube Gilbert Burns grappling highlights. Maybe you should. Maybe that's an important thing to do, because you'll realize he's got some slick and sweet submissions, and he is powerful. He's powerful off the bottom. Haha. But it's true. He's very strong. He can pull people down into the guard, shove their head down in, get the guillotine, get the leg lock, anything. He's a strong guy. But Khamzat Chimaev's pretty strong too, and he's big. He's not necessarily a true 170-pounder. He's able to make the weight because he's a disciplined man who takes it seriously, and just a warrior that can push through pressure, trouble, hardship, problems. He smashes them all, as he says. But Khamzat is sort of the yin to the yang in the grappling aspect. Khamzat, sure, he's got submissions off his back, but all of his submissions have come from taking the guy down, beating him on top, and then giving him not necessarily giving him a way out, forcing a way out upon his opponent via strangulation. Khamzat's tough, and there's so many different ways to fight. Every fight can go several different ways, but this one in particular's got so many little, small moving parts where one wrong thing and it's a different fight, no matter what it is. So let's break it down. On the feet, god damn, that's a tough one. I have to give it to Khamzat just a little bit, but here's the thing. The only reason why I give that to Khamzat is because the last fight was Gilbert Burns fighting Wonderboy Thompson, probably the best striker in the division. So, of course, he's not, and in recency bias, he's not going to have looked as great on the striking, but even with that striking, he almost knocked down Kamaru Usman, so how can I give him the striking disadvantage? How can I give Khamzat the striking advantage when Gilbert knocked down Kamaru Usman? That's a tough one. This is literally what I'm talking about. I was going to go through with that, but I can't even necessarily solidify my point and be confident in my point that Khamzat's better on the feet, or I might have a slight advantage. I can't even give him a slight advantage on the feet. I don't know. It's close. That being said, Khamzat's fast. Even for 170, he's fast. Is he faster than Burns? I don't know. Maybe not. Not thinking so. But one thing we do have to remember about Khamzat too is this is his toughest fight to date. Inside the promotion, outside the promotion, up, down, left, right. Gilbert Burns, undisputably, irrefutably, the most difficult fight of Khamzat Chimaev's career, most likely. And he's looked great in striking against other guys. And those other guys, especially GM3, 17-second knockout. Gerald Meerschaert may not be the best on the feet, but I mean he's got a lot of over 40 pro fights, and he's made a surge as of recent. So it's not like he was just a tomato can that they threw at him to be crushed. Like, he was a legitimate dude, and I finished him in 17 seconds. So stand-up's a toss-up. You know what? I gotta choose one. I'll stick with Khamzat because I feel like he might be just a little bit more powerful, and he might just have a little bit more confidence. Where how can he be more powerful when Khamzat might be a little bit more powerful because he's bigger. I'll leave it at that because I've already gone on this. This is what I go through in my mind all hours of the day. I cannot, and I've been thinking about this fight so much, I cannot decide definitively on the ground aspects of it. There's Khamzat's top pressure. There's Gilbert's bottom pressure. It's a rock, or it's an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object, if you ask me. I mean, it's tough. If Khamzat goes and shoots a double leg and takes Gilbert down, I don't even really know what's going to happen. Like, Khamzat has a very active top game in that he is not afraid to throw some hammer fists down in there and smash a little bit to weaken up the defenses. He doesn't necessarily look for like a lock or a hold and then a pass. He boom, boom, and then pass. Just He's very aggressive and damage. He is a very damage-dealing top pressure guy. With Gilbert, he's not necessarily Tony Ferguson on the back, and that he'll just be throwing up elbows. Not that he won't, but Tony's the quintessential aggressive guy from bottom. Gilbert will be looking more for submissions, in my opinion. If Khamzat can stay out of those submissions, which is a big if, because again, Jiu-Jitsu world champion, you don't get that for free. You don't get that by being shitty at Jiu-Jitsu. You get that by being some of the best in the world at Jiu-Jitsu. So one of the best in the world at Jiu-Jitsu is trying to submit you. You better not put yourself in a situation where that is more likely to happen. It's just, it's a hard one. I don't know. I'll make the prediction. It's gone on long enough. Khamzat. Barely. I think we're seeing a decision. I think there's going to be controversy about who won, and that it's going to be so close. But then again, it could be just that a mauling on either side. It could be a flash knockdown that leads to, like, one image, or one scenario, and then this one scenario that keeps playing through in my head is that Khamzat hits Gilbert on the feet. Kind of hurts him. Khamzat goes in for the double and takes him down, gets on top, but is a little overzealous and gets caught in a submission. That being said, he might be able to break out of it too. He's a strong guy. I don't know. I feel like Khamzat's the more safe bet, and I firmly and fully cannot commit to either of them without flip-flopping seconds later. So I'll go with Khamzat. I'll call it there, but this is the people's main event. This is without a doubt the most anticipated fight on that card, and this is a card with 2 title fights and 2 great divisions, especially the bantamweight division. There's all sorts of stuff, accentuating circumstances, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. Regardless of who it was on, if it wasn't Conor McGregor on the card, and maybe if it wasn't Paddy the Baddy on the card, anybody would have been below Khamzat, regardless of whether he was fighting for a title or not. Khamzat is this force that people want to know, including me, that people want to know more about and want to see fight more, because he fights often, but we love him. And Gilbert is this hardened veteran who is tired of the disrespect. He wants his shot again. He's willing to go through anybody to do it. He's willing to fight the guy that not a lot of people want to fight. Sure, there's people calling him out now, and even after that, but I mean, did they really want to fight him? Did they really? I don't know. I'm not saying that they didn't, but I'm not saying that they necessarily did. Who knows? Either way, great match. I cannot wait to see it so I can stop thinking about it.